What is the big deal if this famous rich guy is hanging out on a luxury boat? Let me explain what yachting actually means to super rich, powerful folks, because it's not what you think. In 2013, the same year Zach was going to rehab repeatedly for and alcohol, that same year, Vanity Fair and Hollywood Reporter both published deep dives on how the Cannes Film Festival yachting scene was actually a major venue for work. Thanks to a bombshell interview with insider Elie Nahas, on top of owning a Beirut modeling agency, Nahas was a former right-hand man for Mutassim Gaddafi, the son of Muammar Gaddafi. Nahas ended up getting sentenced to 8 years in prison for operating a ring specifically during Cannes after a bust in 2007. So yeah, when Nahas says things like workers can make up to $40,000 a night, if they like you, they will give you a lot of money, people were inclined to believe him. Nahas went on to explain, every year during the festival, there are 30 to 40 luxury yachts in the bay at Cannes, and every boat belongs to a very rich person. Every boat has about 10 girls on it, they are usually models, and they are usually nude or half nude. One thing he did note, though, is that a lot of the actors don't necessarily realize the extent of what they're doing, or at least they choose not to. Saying, quote, "These are actresses who made bad career choices and fell off the radar. They tell themselves they're just on dates with rich men when the reality is they're doing what workers do," unquote. So many names have come out in recent years in association with yachting. Everyone from Bella Hadid to the Kardashian Jenners, but what's even crazier is that some blind items have even claimed that Hailey Bieber and Meghan Markle both allegedly found their princes while being yacht girls.
Y'all, I have some friends that have not worked jobs in like 5 to 8 years. All they gotta do is spend one weekend in Dubai and they will come home with $50,000. But yes, you do have to let them get the goods. And there may be a golden shower.
Not only is the yachting industry creepy AF, as the worker, these situations can cause feelings of shame or regret, and sometimes the allegation that someone might be a yacht person is weaponized against them, whether it's true or not. So yeah, the concern people have for Zach being tied to all of this is definitely understandable. Even if Zach wasn't engaging in work on the high seas, it doesn't sound like an environment that would be conducive to sobriety, especially for someone who has a history of relapse and self-destruction. I mean, this summer he was spotted heading onto a yacht the same day as his high-profile ex, Vanessa Hudgens, was leaving the hospital with her newborn baby. The truth is, Zach has been struggling for a long time, and all of the signs have been hiding in plain sight. Just a couple of years ago in 2022, Zach told People magazine that his anxiety was getting so bad he didn't want to leave his house. That was right around the time that an ad for Earth the Musical on Facebook led the internet to speculate about what was wrong with his face.
I think that he has had some jaw work. It looks more like an implant, whether that was metal plates or a jaw implant for aesthetics.
So going back to 2013, around the time he was stinting in and out of rehab, he broke his face and had to endure long-term physical therapy. A strange accident that wouldn't come to light until almost 10 years later. According to Zach, he was running in socks and supposedly slipped in a puddle of water, and that made him hit his chin on a marble fountain, causing it to shatter and hang off his face.
Yikes alert, Zach suffered a major accident over the weekend. E! News reports that his mouth is currently wired shut, and all because of a little fall.
During that time, Zach was also pushing hard to escape his Disney teen idol mold and started taking more edgy roles, like in the indie film At Any Price and the raunchy Seth Rogen comedy Neighbors. And he landed in some hot water after getting into a physical altercation with an unhoused man near Skid Row.
The LAPD confirms that a battery report was taken involving actor Zac Efron and a second person.
But after that, Zach seemed to be doing better. He was largely staying out of the spotlight. It wasn't until the last couple of years that people became worried again after his massive, almost unimaginable physical transformation to play the role of Kevin Von Erich in the critically acclaimed film The Iron Claw. I mean, when I saw this, my jaw dropped. I could not recognize him.
I allowed it to take over my life. That became my primary goal.
Here's the concerning thing. His response reminded me of the last time Zac Efron was in the news talking about transforming for a role, and he said it had been awful for him mentally.
For this movie in particular, we wanted to achieve a look, and that required a specific type of training.
So we know that these career choices take a tremendous emotional and mental toll, especially on someone who struggles with anxiety at the level that Zac has self-reported. Add to that the pressure from Facegate and having the internet explode into speculation at his appearance, and few people, if any, accepting his explanation of slipping on the floor in 2013 and not plastic surgery and HGH side effects. I mean, even if it is entirely from hitting his face on the floor, think about that anxiety as an actor trying to hide a major injury in secret for years after doing regular physical therapy to avoid having more surgery so he could continue working. The pressure of that level of visibility alone is nearly unimaginable. So it is no wonder he stopped wanting to leave his house. So he has this history of pushing himself to a literal breaking point until he's forced to take time to recover. But was the pool incident in Ibiza enough to push him to that point? Apparently not, because after his hospitalization in Ibiza, Zac retreated to a notoriously not calm and relaxing space stateside, Miami. And that's where he stayed for several weeks before showing back up in Europe at the Venice Film Festival. But why did he go to Venice so soon after his near-death experience? Was it because he wanted to, or because he had to? That might sound like a silly question for this buff, brawny guy, but here is where things get sinister, and where we start to see the through line in all of Zac's behavior. The Svengali has entered the chat.